What if a country with rich agricultural land started manufacturing what it consumes instead of importing from overseas? In the heart of West Africa, a 35-year-old leader is launching projects that challenge decades of economic independence.
In a world where many leaders cling to the past, Ibrahim Traoré is daring to imagine the future. At just 36 years old, he stands at the forefront of one of Africa's most watched political transformations, and he's not playing it safe. This is Burkina Faso in 2025, a nation scarred by conflict, rocked by coups, and still grappling with instability. But it's also a country awakening under the bold leadership of a man who believes real change requires real risks. Since taking power in 2022, Traoré has made moves that stunned the international community. From severing military ties with France to forging new alliances in the East, empowering local security forces, and confronting deep-rooted corruption head-on. But his ambition doesn't stop at sovereignty and survival. Traoré is dreaming bigger. He's envisioning a nation that can rise from the ashes, take control of its resources, empower its youth, and build a new model of African governance by Africans for Africans. This isn't just another chapter in West African politics. This is a revolutionary moment. A young soldier turned head of state who's refusing to be a puppet on the global stage. So today, we dive into his vision. What's really happening behind the headlines? Can one man's bold dreams truly reshape the destiny of a nation long caught in the crossfire of foreign interests and domestic instability? And what does the future hold for Burkina Faso under Ibrahim Traoré? Transforming Burkina Faso's political landscape. Burkina Faso, a country long marked by political instability and unrest, is now under the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré, a figure whose vision has sparked both national and international interest. Traoré's journey to power did not follow the conventional political path. Instead, his rise came through bold and decisive action, emblematic of his leadership style. In 2022, he assumed power after the ousting of President Roch-Marc Christian Kabore, stepping in as the head of a military-backed transitional government. From the outset, Traoré and his administration pledged to restore order, enhance security, and lay the groundwork for a renewed democratic future. What sets Traoré apart from his predecessors is his determination to break the cycle of political stagnation that has haunted Burkina Faso for decades. The country has endured numerous coups, fragile governments, and relentless threats from terrorist groups affiliated with Al-Qaeda and ISIS. Traoré recognizes that true progress cannot be achieved through military force alone. His vision extends beyond battlefield victories to include a comprehensive national reformation aimed at creating a stable, secure, and prosperous Burkina Faso by 2025. A key pillar of Traoré's leadership is his commitment to returning the nation to civilian rule. He has made clear promises to organize free and fair democratic elections, signaling a major shift from the country's troubled past. For Traoré, involving civilians in the governance process and promoting transparency are not just political strategies, they are fundamental principles essential for lasting peace and stability. By setting a reasonable timeline for a democratic transition, Traoré shows an acute awareness that long-term security depends on building a political system firmly rooted in democratic values. As Burkina Faso moves through this transitional period, the leadership of Ibrahim Traoré represents a new chapter for the nation. His combination of military strength, reformist vision, and dedication to democracy has given the people hope that despite the challenges, a brighter future is within reach. If successful, his efforts could not only transform Burkina Faso, but also serve as a model for other nations grappling with similar struggles. Security and counterterrorism efforts. Arguably, the most pressing issue for Ibrahim Traoré's government is the country's deteriorating security situation. Burkina Faso is entrenched in a grueling war on terror, with extremist groups controlling vast swathes of land, particularly in the northern and eastern regions. The ongoing violence has taken a devastating toll. Thousands of Burkinabe citizens have lost their lives, and millions more have been displaced. National security, therefore, stands as one of the central pillars of Traoré's bold and urgent agenda. Under his leadership, the military's role in leading the fight against these terrorist factions has been pivotal, reflecting his strong belief in decisive action. However, Traoré's vision for security goes beyond the pursuit of immediate military victories. He understands that sustainable peace and long-term stability require deeper engagement with the local population. A key part of his strategy is the empowerment of local communities to reclaim and defend their territories. Traoré has championed the formation and integration of local defense militias, composed of citizens from the most affected areas. This move marks a significant departure from the traditional top-down military approach, emphasizing instead a model of collective security. For Traoré, equipping local populations to defend themselves is not just a tactical decision. It is a form of empowerment crucial for undermining the influence of terrorist groups and restoring community resilience. In addition to strengthening internal security measures, Traoré has also been proactive on the international front. Recognizing the need for broader support, his government has sought to forge new alliances, particularly with non-Western powers. Increased cooperation with countries like Russia and Mali has become a key aspect of Burkina Faso's new diplomatic strategy. These military and economic partnerships reflect Traoré's bold reorientation of Burkina Faso's geopolitical stance. As relations with traditional Western allies have strained, Traoré's pivot aims to make the country more self-sufficient, fortified, and capable of withstanding external pressures. Through this comprehensive approach, combining military action, citizen empowerment, and strategic diplomacy, Ibrahim Traoré is redefining what security means for Burkina Faso's future. Economic revival and infrastructure development. Traoré's ambitions for Burkina Faso extend beyond political and security reforms into the critical realm of economic development. Recognizing that true national stability must also be built on economic strength, his administration is actively working to lift the country out of poverty and chronic underdevelopment. Burkina Faso's economy has long been heavily reliant on agriculture, particularly cotton production. However, global drops in commodity prices, combined with the ongoing conflict and instability, have posed serious challenges to sustained economic growth. To address these pressing issues, Traoré has committed to a series of bold economic reforms aimed at diversifying the country's economic base. His strategy focuses on reducing Burkina Faso's dependence on the export of raw materials by promoting value-added industries such as textiles, renewable energy, and manufacturing. Traoré is particularly keen on leveraging the nation's abundant natural resources, especially gold, to create wealth that can be reinvested into crucial sectors like infrastructure development, education, and healthcare. A major focus under Traoré's leadership has been the rebuilding of Burkina Faso's damaged infrastructure. Years of insurgent attacks have left critical transportation and communication networks in disrepair. Traoré's vision includes the construction of modern roads and bridges, particularly to connect rural areas to the capital, Ouagadougou. Improved infrastructure is seen as vital for facilitating trade, enhancing access to essential services, and promoting broader job creation across the country. Furthermore, Traoré has placed strong emphasis on boosting the country's digital infrastructure. Plans are underway to expand internet access, promote technological innovation, and equip the youth with the skills needed for the modern economy. By embracing both traditional and technological sectors, Traoré hopes to lay a foundation for sustainable economic growth, positioning Burkina Faso for a more prosperous and self-sufficient future. Social transformation and education. For a nation long plagued by instability, Ibrahim Traoré's focus on social transformation stands as another critical pillar of his vision for Burkina Faso in 2025. His government is determined to tackle the deep-rooted social inequalities that have hindered the country's progress for decades. Like many nations in the region, Burkina Faso faces the challenge of a youth bulge, with more than half of its population under the age of 20. Traoré recognizes that this demographic reality presents both a significant challenge and a powerful opportunity. The future of the nation, he believes, lies in the education, empowerment, and full integration of its young people into national development. One of Traoré's most ambitious undertakings is a complete overhaul of the educational system. For years, the country's education infrastructure has been underfunded, outdated, and ill-equipped to meet the needs of a growing and dynamic population. To change this, Traoré has outlined comprehensive plans to build new schools, enhance teacher training programs, and integrate vocational and technical education into the national curriculum. By emphasizing practical skills alongside academic learning, he hopes to cultivate a more capable and skilled workforce that can actively contribute to Burkina Faso's economic and social progress. Yet, Traoré understands that education alone will not solve the country's social challenges. His broader social vision also prioritizes strengthening healthcare and social services. Burkina Faso's healthcare system remains among the weakest in West Africa, plagued by limited access to basic medical care, a shortage of trained professionals, and high mortality rates. In response, Traoré's government has allocated increased resources to building new hospitals, expanding the training of medical personnel, and improving healthcare access, especially in rural and underserved areas. In addition, initiatives targeting malnutrition, maternal health, and child welfare are being launched as essential components of a broader effort to uplift the nation's most vulnerable populations. Strengthening national unity and governance. National unity stands as another crucial pillar in Ibrahim Traoré's vision for the future of Burkina Faso. Despite the numerous challenges posed by political instability and ethnic fragmentation, Traoré has consistently emphasized the importance of fostering cohesion among the country's diverse communities. His approach recognizes that lasting stability cannot be achieved without addressing the divisions that have historically weakened the nation's social fabric. One of the primary ways he aims to achieve this unity is by promoting a culture of national dialogue and reconciliation, encouraging open communication and mutual understanding across ethnic and political lines. Burkina Faso's history has been shaped by ethnic tensions, particularly between the Mossi people, who dominate the central regions, and minority groups such as the Fulani and Tuareg populations in the north and east. For decades, these divisions have fueled mistrust and periodic violence. Traoré's government is taking bold steps to address these deep-rooted issues by creating a more inclusive system of governance. Ensuring that all ethnic groups are represented in key decision-making processes is central to his plan. By promoting inclusivity and shared leadership, Traoré seeks to dismantle the historical marginalization of minority communities and foster a greater sense of national belonging. A significant part of this effort involves the decentralization of political power. Traoré is pushing for greater autonomy for regional governments, allowing local communities to have more control over their own affairs. This move is designed to ensure that governance is more responsive to the specific needs and realities of different regions, helping to bridge the gap between the central government and distant, often neglected parts of the country. In addition to fostering inclusivity, Traoré's government is prioritizing improvements in governance transparency and accountability. Recognizing that public trust in government institutions has been eroded by decades of corruption and inefficiency, Traoré is introducing reforms aimed at making government operations more open and accessible to the public. Measures such as publishing government budgets, tracking public spending, and strengthening anti-corruption bodies are intended to rebuild citizens' faith in their leaders. By combining efforts toward national reconciliation, inclusive governance, and enhanced transparency, Ibrahim Traoré envisions a Burkina Faso where all citizens, regardless of ethnicity or background, can feel represented, respected, and invested in the nation's shared future. A regional and global vision. Ibrahim Traoré's vision for Burkina Faso is not confined within its national borders. He has set his sights on positioning Burkina Faso as a significant player within the broader West African region and the global community. His bold foreign policy decisions reflect a larger aspiration to elevate the country's status on the world stage. Traoré's approach marks a clear departure from the traditional reliance on Western powers, signaling a new era of diversified international relationships aimed at securing Burkina Faso's sovereignty and future development. One of the most notable aspects of this strategy is the deliberate pivot toward non-Western alliances, particularly with nations like Russia and China. Traoré has emphasized that Burkina Faso's future cannot be tied to the lingering influence of former colonial powers. His administration has worked to deepen cooperation with the Russian Federation, especially in areas of military support, defense technology, and economic development. These partnerships aim to strengthen the country's ability to independently address security challenges while also fostering economic growth. In addition to broadening ties with global powers, Traoré has prioritized regional collaboration. Strengthening relationships with neighboring countries like Mali, which shares similar political transitions, is part of his broader vision for a more unified and resilient West Africa. Through joint security initiatives and economic partnerships, Traoré hopes to foster greater stability and prosperity across the region. On the global stage, Traoré is determined to shift Burkina Faso's narrative from one of conflict and instability to one of resilience, innovation, and opportunity. His government is actively seeking foreign investment, particularly in renewable energy, infrastructure, and technology sectors. By 2025, Traoré envisions a Burkina Faso that is not only a hub for regional economic activity, but also a symbol of progress and reform in a challenging global environment. A bold future ahead, Ibrahim Traoré's vision for a new Burkina Faso by 2025 is one filled with bold ambitions and transformative plans. From securing the nation's borders to strengthening its economy and social systems, his government is committed to steering the country toward a future of peace, stability, and prosperity. While the road ahead is challenging, Traoré's leadership has demonstrated that with decisive action, strategic alliances, and a long-term commitment to reform, Burkina Faso can rise from the ashes of conflict and political instability to become a beacon of hope and progress in West Africa. As the sun rises over Ouagadougou, the stakes have never been higher. Ibrahim Traoré has thrown down the gauntlet, not just to his political opponents, but to an entire global system that's long dictated the fate of nations like Burkina Faso from behind closed doors. But boldness alone isn't enough. Dreams this big demand strategy, unity, and unshakable will. The question is, can he deliver? Burkina Faso is standing on a knife's edge. One path leads to a new dawn: regional self-reliance, youth empowerment, and a national identity no longer defined by colonial shadows. The other, a return to the chaos that so many in the country are desperate to leave behind. One thing's for sure, Ibrahim Traoré isn't waiting for permission to rewrite the rules. He's doing it now, with every speech, every policy, and every unapologetic move. Will history remember him as a revolutionary leader who changed the course of Burkina Faso forever, or a symbol of what could have been? Drop your thoughts below, because this is a conversation that matters. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the rising leaders and untold stories that are shaping our world today. This isn't just politics. This is the future of Africa, unfolding in real time, and it starts right here with bold moves and even bigger dreams.